then we'll have the pledge to the flag. Stand. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Has the roll call been taken?
I can do that if you need me to.
Well, that's what it says here.
Everybody's here, except for Jack, and he's absent and excused.
Okay. Anybody here from the public? I think so. Any correspondence? None? Approval of the prior minutes from July 9th. Can we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Any objections? Motion is approved. Business items, presentation of awards. Mr. Pound and Mr. Bardis.
Can I ask to move that to the very end of the meeting?
You sure can.
Lieutenant Bardis is going to be a little bit late, so we're going to
Yeah,
adjust that just a
Okay,
little
we
bit.
can do
I
that.
was looking for another old guy and didn't see him.
You gotta slow down because it's got, this next section's got
Item
to
6 is staffing updates.
flying right through here.
So a couple things on staffing updates. As long as Callie's here, I'll announce that her position has been changed slightly. She was the Director of Medical Services. Her title has changed to EMS Division Chief, and she's also, instead of working 3 days a week, now working 4 days a week. So we took 1 day away from our fire inspector, not Marty, but we had Paul Reinschmidt that was helping Marty 2 days a week last year. Paul will be doing 1 day a week this year, and that extra day went to Callie to try to help catch up on some of the EMS work a little bit. The other big thing under staffing is at our last board meeting, we were given the approval to apply for a SAFER grant. I know it's got nothing to do with us, but it's a federal grant for funding of additional firefighters or retaining current firefighters. Our plan is to recruit and hire 9 additional firefighters, so an extra 3 on each crew. So we are hoping to apply for that grant in the next several weeks here. We're just waiting for it to open. When it does open, it's open for 30 days. So Eric and I are pre-doing some of that work, so we're kind of ready as soon as it opens. A lot of data is needed, and then a bunch of narratives have to be done. There's a fair amount of information that needs to be put into that. And then we should hear on that in August-ish, give or take a little bit typically. It's kind of a moving target. It's the federal government, so you never know when they're going to...
It's federal, not state.
Yeah, it's federal.
And this money they just made available because the national problem with the lack of firefighters,
No.
the need for firefighters.
No, a SAFER grant has been around for a very long time, actually.
It's been around for
And you
15 or
can
20
use it
years.
for personnel.
That's
or
the only thing it can be used for is fire personnel.
fire personnel.
Yes.
Now,
Yep.
that's one-time grant.
We apply for the grant, and they pay for wages and benefits for 3 years, and then on year 4, it goes back to the municipalities to make up that difference. And we've been working with both villages already on how that's going to happen. So
Can I ask what that amount is?
each firefighter is approximately $105,000 with wages
Just
and
about $1
benefits.
million bucks.
Yep.
$1 million per year, so the grant will be for around $3 million.
That's awesome. And the villages are gonna, in 4 years, is gonna.
Yeah, part of the grant, you have to retain the employees year 4.
Yeah. Year 5, you could get rid of them if you want to, but obviously that isn't the plan.
That's not the plan. Okay.
That wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. We actually applied for and were awarded the grant about
2019.
6 years ago. So yeah, 6 years ago. And at that point, the board at that time, their plan was to get rid of them once the grant ran out. So we chose to not pursue it any farther. But this time, the board is on board with it, and hopefully, I mean, we have a pretty good case to make for the grant, just because of our current staffing. But last year, 9% of the people that apply were awarded grants, so it's pretty difficult. So
What if someone would choose to leave after year 1 or year 2?
then you would hire somebody to replace them.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
just have to show that you're actively trying to fill the positions.
Correct.
WASA's kind of in that right now. They got a safer grant 2 years ago for
They-
12.
they've never
and
filled the 12.
Yeah, they've been nonstop recruiting since they got the grant.
So, what we plan to do is, once we apply for the grant, probably in June-ish, we will post for positions for establish an eligibility list for anticipated open positions, so we can at least hopefully get some people in the queue. That way, if we were fortunate enough to get the grant, we'll have some people ready to go already.
Do we have anybody left over now on the
No.
list?
No. That's really all I have from staffing. I don't know if you have anything.
Other than Callie's promotion, Engineer Kolb was recently promoted. Firefighter Kolb was promoted to engineer. Want to raise your hand?
Raise your hand. There you go.
Our newest engineer. I think that's it. Since I'm trying to think back to July. I mean, since then we've hired a couple of full-time people. Tabitha Allen, who's writing a report right now, is a newer employee that's been hired since the last commission meeting. Eric Butt is a new hire since the last commission meeting. They're both full-time. Kyle Kazuski, who was hired full-time last January, resigned in,
May, June.
it might have been right around the last commission meeting. He resigned and went to Wisconsin Rapids. Amy Bright recently resigned. She decided to get out of EMS entirely and moved to Texas. She was one of the engineers. Am I missing anybody? Any recent? Cody Ewan, who's an engineer, he completed paramedic and passed his test, so he's a new paramedic. He's currently going through the phases. He's almost to phase 3. So we're excited about that. Mackenzie Massa, who we hired in January, she passed her paramedic and passed registry, so she's a new paramedic. Brianna Welch, who we hired in January, she just completed paramedic and she'll be testing here in the next week or two. So that'll be another one. Is that it?
We have one full-time employee in paramedic right now. That'll complete in May.
Oh, yeah. John
Hansen.
Hansen is in paramedic at Midstate. He'll be done in May. We had an employee. We've had some. Barta says he'll be here in 10 minutes. We've
You're
had.
still like-
We've
That's
had
18
some.
minutes late.
Yeah, I know. We've had some.
What are you gonna do, fire them?
Worker, we've had some worker comp injuries as of late. We had one individual who was off since August. He recently just came back to work a swing ago, so he's off for about 6 months. He got injured at a different department. We have one injury right now. He got injured here. He actually had a hernia. He had surgery the first or second week of January. Mr. Kolb was off for a month, 2 months.
6 weeks.
He had an injury at another department, and then we had another engineer. She's been off 2 or 3 times now with injuries. She almost ruptured her Achilles, not quite, but almost. That put her off for 3 months, and then she came back too soon and was off for another month. And then she had a cot roll over her foot, and she was off for just a swing for that. So, but I mean that's an increase of injuries. We don't see a lot of injuries at this department. So over the last 6 months, we've seen quite an increase in injuries to personnel. That's all I can think of for staffing.
Fire chief report?
Well, the biggest thing I had was the staffing updates. However, a couple other little things. I'll bring the commission, it's more of a board item, but I'll bring the commission up to one thing that is tied into the staffing updates is we had a structure fire basically up at the top of the hill about a mile to a mile and a half straight south of here. That actually immediately followed a board meeting. It was about 2 hours after a board meeting. When that fire call came out, there was absolutely nobody within the district available to respond. We had the crew from the station was in the town of Gunther for a cardiac arrest out in the woods for somebody that was hunting. And then there was a multi-victim crash in front of Bricks on Schofield Avenue in Weston that we already had actually Riverside and Wausau bringing extra ambulances for. And then a structure fire came in, like I said, just here. So it was about 20 minutes before the first truck got to that individual's home. And although he was very nice about it, he certainly wasn't happy, understandably so. Eric did a nice job explaining the situation to him. I was in a fairly bad mood once I got there just because we did not look good. Not our fault, but still didn't look good. And that whole neighborhood came to, not the last board meeting, but the board meeting before. It would have been November. And certainly spoke their minds. I mean, again, nobody was yelling or they were upset, but they were very appropriate about it. So I think that spurred some of this additional staffing stuff that's going on. But
You got the board's attention.
yeah, and it's not just that. There were a couple other things that came out in that meeting where, they said their neighbors had waited extended times for ambulances, which, our times show that. As we get busier, the number of times this ambulance has to go to Weston and Weston's ambulances have to come here, keep going up, and that just makes their response times longer. It's pretty simple math. So, and it's most days, and I think right now, Jake, are you in Clapton? Oh no, Tabitha's here today. So today we have 3 people here. But many days it's only 2 people at the station. So when the ambulance is out, if there's a fire in Rib Mountain, they're waiting for somebody to come from Weston. There's nobody coming out of the station. During the day, myself and Eric and Marty are around, but this ambulance runs 4 or 5 calls a day. Each call's about an hour or a little bit more. So there's 4 to 6 hours a day where there's no fire staffing in the station or a second ambulance. So that's what that grant is going to fix, hopefully. So, yes. The other little thing I guess I would add is our new ladder truck is here. I don't know if that came after our last meeting, so if anybody wants to see it, it is out in the bay. We can certainly take a peek at that after the meeting here. So, I think that's all I have.
Eric?
Okay. I'm going to start with a couple things I forgot with staffing as I was thinking. Since the last meeting we had, we negotiated a contract with Local 5452. So we have a union contract. It goes through the end of 26. That added 6 additional full-time staff that I didn't mention. So we had six individuals who we called majority time, so they were working full-time hours, but they had limited benefits, or we called them limited benefit full-time. I forget, we've had a couple different titles, but they were full-time with the signing of the contract, and then as of January 1, they have full benefits and everything that's been negotiated in the contract. So I just missed that part of it. Other than that, my reports back to July are in the packet. Some highlights since July. Our EMS responses, our 911 calls for the year are actually up about 200 calls. So we've been busy. Our interfacility transports are down and our intercepts are down, but our 911 call volume is up quite a bit. Our fire responses were up a lot this year. They'll be reflected in the year-end report. We went from like 330-ish responses in 23 to over 550 responses in 24, and that's due a large part to mutual aid. We've signed auto aid agreements with the city of Wausau and Riverside. So we're going to every one of Riverside's fires, and we're going to every one of Wausau's fires, and they're coming to us. So we, for Riverside, we give them an engine, and for Wausau, we give them an ambulance. And in return, we get a truck from Wausau, and we get an engine from Riverside. So those are new agreements that we've signed. Training hours are on point with last year. Chief mentioned the 100-foot platform. The boat right now is in getting a console put on it, and it's getting some upgrades that we had Fire prevention and public education activities, we did 70 total events in 2024, which is double what we did in 23. So it's up quite a bit. We had good response from that. 2023, as far as events go, I think there was kind of a COVID hangover. There were a lot of events that we weren't doing where they picked up now here in 2024. We're going to be adding one big event in 2025. So we do concert events in Cadott. We do a country fest and rock fest.
Yeah.
This year we're adding, what's it called?
Force Fields.
Force Fields. It's a kind of
Techno.
alternative punk, techno. It's just a different music style event. So we'll be same in
It's out on
Cadott.
Highway S in Cadott.
Same
yeah,
place.
grounds.
Yep. So, and that's is that just a 2-day event or is that a 3-day event?
That's a Friday, Saturday.
That's a 2-day event. This last year we did Farm Technology Days in 2024 out in Cadott this last summer. So that was a 2-day event, a 3-day event. And actually for that event we gave, we had 2 ambulances. 2
ambulances and a medical.
And a medical provider in their tent. So our one of our EMS directors through Mignon Raidman, she's a doctor over at MMC. She's also an employee because she wants to run calls every now and again. So she was out there that whole time, and Callie was out there amongst other individuals working for Farm Technology Days. So that's events.
Is there any revenue on that?
Yeah, we get paid for that. We charge per
Fully
hour.
paid?
Yeah, we
Yes.
get charged per hour, and we get a check.
I actually gave them
Actually
a
before.
fairly high price, to be honest, because they called and asked earlier, and I said no. And then they called and asked again like 2 months later, and they said, we're desperate. So then the price changed. So,
It's nice to have supply
Yeah.
and demand.
Going down the list, grants. Some grants that we've gotten over the last 6 months. Callie has secured over $20,000 in grants for new laryngoscopes, which are the devices that we use to intubate people. Our laryngoscopes, we were just called one day and told that they were discontinuing them and not supporting them at all anymore. So we kind of had to scramble because we didn't have money in the budget for new ones, and Callie was able to get that money to pay for them 100%. So we got new laryngoscopes. Since we put them in place, are we at 100%?
6 for 6.
We're at 100% innovation since we put the new devices in place. So, and they've been used. I should preface by that. I missed one, but we didn't use the device. Other than that, a couple of other grants we had put in for a Leary firefighter grant. Still waiting on that one. We put in for a firehouse subs grant. We did not get that one, unfortunately. What else? We had a busy October. One of the new things that we're putting into the report, if you go to page 17, is our concurrent call volume. So like the chief said that, with crews being out of the station 4 or 5 times a day, you can see year to date to November 30th, 40% of the time we have 2 or more calls. So 31% of the time we have 2 calls going on at the same time, and then 40% of the time we have 2 or more. And that data is proven through the year. That's a report that I'm going to be adding to my report, but I didn't add it to my template, so I didn't put it into the December report. So I'm going to mad dash and try to get it done here in between meetings. So that's a new report that you'll see.
Bruce is here.
Is he here? I can stop talking now.
Stop right now. I believe he's here. Sounds like.
Yeah. The only other thing I would have is there's a new service that we started offering in 2024. We're doing car seat installations. Cher is one of the people, and Christy Chula is the other one. And when we have people come into for those installations, it's more they're teaching the people how to put the car seats in properly and then checking to make sure they're done. We've done 2 or 3 since we started doing that. We really haven't advertised as much as we are going to be, but that's a new service that we recently started doing.
Do the parents come in on their own, or
Yeah.
where they buy them from? Do they recommend they come over, anything like that?
No, we haven't advertised yet, but we're going to advertise like on Facebook and on our website, and then there'll be a form on the website to fill out to make an appointment. Right now, both called you, right? So they call in and make an appointment with Cher, and Cher makes that appointment for either a day she's here or if she's busy when Christy's here. And Christy's on shift, so she's a little less available. I think Christy did one on a weekend where she was working.
It'd be nice if the stores would be proactive on that too.
Yeah. They're running another class coming
the
up
hospital
here.
actually
The
says
hospital is.
Yep.
They're running another class pretty soon, right?
Yes, end of March.
We're going to see if we can maybe get another person or two into it. But that last class that they ran was really well attended. There were people from Riverside, people from us. And then the hospital kind of organizes everybody and tries to do car seat installation drives.
The class is significantly longer than
Yeah.
you would think it would be.
And
How many hours is it? Sure. It's like a week.
it was a
right?
week. It was like a
It's a week,
40-hour class.
all day.
And there's
To put in a car
continuing.
seat.
There's
Putting
Yeah,
in those
it's-
car seats
yeah.
sometimes.
It's a
really
40-hour
difficult.
class, and then there's continuing education to keep their certification, right? There's all kinds of stuff they got to do
Yeah, you'd
Maybe
think
To
it'd be
be
like
an
an
instructor, to become an instructor
Yeah,
to teach,
to be a
no,
certified
just to be an
installer,
an installer.
yeah,
Technician.
technician.
Yeah,
It's
car
called.
safety seat technician.
Well, yeah, because
I have
if
to-
it failed for any reason,
Yeah, but I mean, you would think it'd be like a 4-hour afternoon
Yeah,
class
you
or
think.
something, but no, it's a whole week.
It's a 40 hours. They had trailers in here and different car types and different
Yeah,
seat
different
types and yeah. So that's all I have, unless anybody has any questions.
the 6 people that you added, you were talking about, that's different than the 9 you're
Yeah,
requesting.
yeah. The 6 people, they were all like Jake was one and
They were already,
Mike were one. They were already here,
Here,
and they
okay.
were already working full time. They
Okay.
they didn't get health insurance. They didn't get they got limited vacation. They were just
Health insurance was the big thing.
health insurance was a big thing. There were just some benefits. So that position's kind of morphed over the last 4 or 5 years, maybe longer than that. So just quick historically, the majority of time would work 2 days of the swing. And then we had a part-time that worked 1 day, and that turned into working all 3 days with no benefits. And they got third shift pay, so they got $7.50 an hour at night. We increased the third shift pay to full. And then after the 6 months after that, we gave them vacation. And then after that, with the unionization and the contract, they came on. They're full-time employees. So, yep.
Hey, Josh, are you ready with your presentation?
Yes, we are.
Bruce, did you bring cheese curds?
You want to do Bartis first?
Sure. You want to come up here, Bruce?
Bruce is in front. So what we try to do is anybody who retires from the department with 10 or more years in good standing, we get them an award, and an axe is what we have been doing now the last couple of years. Lieutenant Bartis started with Rib Mountain Fire in 1994, worked as a firefighter until
that to you.
2000. In 2000, he
Be
was
on the
promoted to lieutenant for Rib Mountain Fire until 2014 for the merger. Once we merged, he was promoted to captain from 2014 to 2022. In 2022, we reorganized the department and the command staff, with captains being a full-time position. So at that time, Lieutenant Bartis became a lieutenant. So on his axe, his plaque, he 30 years of service with Rib Mountain and Safer. And on the axe head itself, it has his years of service, and
And the logo is actually.
yeah, the logo is etched in there, and then what you can't see is the logo's etched in there, and then his years of service. So Rib Mountain as a lieutenant and as a captain, and Safer as a lieutenant, is etched into the. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Lieutenant Bartis is retired, but not fully. He says he's going to come back and do interfacility transports. He has to be off for a certain amount of time because of WRS, and then he'll come back and do transports. The next presentation, Mr. Pound. So Bob was the interim fire chief in 2002 for Rib Mountain Fire Department when we were transitioning from a part-time chief to a full-time chief. So in 2000, I don't remember when he started, but up until 2002, Darren Westover was a chief, and then starting in 2003, why can't I remember his name? Paul Worth became our first full-time chief. In 2013, Bob was hired to the Weston Fire Department as a firefighter, and then in 2014 was Safer as a firefighter until now. And that's just a fraction of Bob's service. Bob was a captain with Maine for how long?
20 years.
And then he taught for the tech. I have 40 years, but some of us were like comparing numbers. And when did you start teaching at the tech? 1960 what?
Not quite that early.
That's what I thought somebody said.
Total of 54 years in the fire service, starting in Tomahawk Fire Department.
I think, Bob, years ago, you helped get Weston started too, the department originally.
Well, if I helped, I'm glad I did.
I think you did, yeah.
So we're presenting Bob with an axe with his years of service with Rib Mountain
Congratulations.
and Weston
It's heavy
and
on the right.
Safer are on the
Yeah.
axe head.
And it's not, it's just sitting out there.
Okay. Beautiful.
Bob had 12 years of service with Safer and Weston, and we're presenting him an axe. And
Thank
don't
you.
leave before I talk to you about that. We can make some decisions.
Congratulations.
Or we can send it in.
Where is it?
On the bottom. Chip on the bottom.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Absolutely.
Oh, dear, let go.
He was on county animal fire for years. We know his brother-in-law was.
I would just like to, if I could, interject one thing that I've said to both village boards and I've said to our board is that the fire service has changed a lot. I would say, especially over the last decade. As some of you know, that many years ago, Evan would certainly know this, and obviously the two guys that we just talked about. Things have changed a lot between volunteers and full time and call volume and expectations. There's been a lot of change in a fairly short amount of time. And the number of people in the state and the country that are willing to volunteer for fire departments or volunteer for anything has really dwindled. Eric sent me a article the other day from Pennsylvania, and their volunteerism has dropped by 78% since like 1984, I think it was.
And they rely heavily on volunteers still today.
So I mean, just massive numbers. And the point I'm trying to make, that both of these guys have volunteered a lot to their community. I've known Bruce for over 20 years, and Bob probably not as well as Bruce, because I worked with Bruce for a long time with Rib Mountain, but both of them have dedicated a lot of their own time to their community and expecting nothing in return. And the number of guys that are around that are willing to do that anymore are pretty minimal. So.
All service organizations are facing that now.
Yep, absolutely.
So the next time we have a meeting, we'll be doing a badge pinning. We have a number of people that need to pin on. We're waiting for uniforms that were ordered, so
Okay,
next
anything
month or
else?
two.
We do that out in the bay?
Depends on how many
Many
people
people
we're
should-
expecting.
Okay.
We might do it outside if it's not cold.
Not outside.
Okay, item F, remarks from the fire commission members. One item would be the next meeting date.
Oh,
Sorry,
sorry.
to be determined.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, potentially in February, if we get
For the badge.
all of the items in February 11th.
The 11th.
March
be-
11th.
February 11th.
Normally we do every
I
other
know.
month. You want to do February?
If we get the uniform items in, which I don't have high hopes, it'll probably be March.
So
Yeah, we
what
only
do you
got 2
want?
weeks or 3 weeks. I guess.
Yeah, because the commendation bars I don't think are going to be in 2 weeks. We have
So-
commendation,
Yeah.
we have badge pinning and commendation awards.
To be determined.
To be.
Yeah.
TBD.
Keep March open.
Jim?
No remarks.
No remarks from Jim. Scott?
All I have to say is congratulations, gentlemen. You've done a lot for your fire service industry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dave?
No comments.
Okay, and I have nothing. So, motion to adjourn, be in order.
So move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.